What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stokastic here on the Odd Chopper channel, coming to you with a 12-game edition of NBA Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell goes a long way for me on this video, goes a long way for you. That way you become a prize whenever great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. Lots of things to get done today. First off, it's our first massive NBA slate, which I'm looking forward to. A lot of time and effort went into this one, a lot of research, and obviously you don't want to go crazy here right from the get-go, but we do want to be early to the party on certain situations. There's one play in particular I'm thinking about where it's just like, what's this team going to do in this spot? What are they going to... We could say that about every single team. There are 24 of them playing basketball today, and none of them have played anything that matters yet. Preseason, yeah, it matters if you're trying to make the roster, but does it matter to a Drew Holiday, who we'll talk about today? Probably not as much, although cohesion there with his new team, something that we'll pay attention to. Talk about the ins and outs of some of these teams that have new looks that I have some stands on. And then obviously I've got four big plays for you here going your way. But two pieces of homework that we got to throw in here right from the get-go. First off, still running this amazing little sale, Lindy NBA. If you guys want to jump into the Discord, I want to have everybody have access to it. Hey, 2-0 yesterday on props. Useful start to the NBA season. Very, very useful. Alperen Şengün assists, plus money. Very, very useful. Steven Adams, sweaty. I'm done saying stuff like that, or words back to back. But I just said back to back, so that's back to back. $30 off, friends. $19.95 there for the monthly. Check it all out. Lindy NBA. But here's the biggie. NBA Lindy's Live. I'm going to be putting this together here for you. Probably going to be looking at 30 minutes before lock of the first game. So 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. And that's 3:30 p.m. on the West Coast. Check it all out here. NBA Lindy's Live. We're going to be talking bets. We're going to be talking pick'em. If you have any questions about your bets for the evening, I think this is going to be a little bit more hands-on approach where I can help you in the NBA streets, mainly because it's time sensitive, it's injury sensitive, and those are things I can't do the night before or the morning of the way that I want to. So NBA Lindy's Live on the Odd Chopper channel. We got it rocking here. Got the go ahead. So we're going to do the maiden voyage today. Check it out at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. Come ask me your questions. I'll give you my answers. You won't always like them, but you know what? Damn it, I'll give them. Alrighty, y'all. We got plays. Let's get to them. Whoo, darling. We begin Lindy's Leans with the Brooklyn Nets and the Charlotte Hornets. To at least touch on the net side of things, Ben Seraph is probably the guy that probably ends up getting your start here. He's an Israeli basketball player, 26 years old, older rookie, but you get a lot of the foreign players that show up, and, well, he's all assist, nothing else, which is useful when you have black holes Cam Thomas and Michael Porter Jr. now on this basketball team. Wild times. I'm very interested to see how bad Brooklyn can possibly be, but this is more of a pace-up spot than we've seen in years past. If this total existed last year, it wouldn't be 227.5. You'd be in like the 210 range. Well, we've got a new situation here for LaMelo Ball. You get Miles Bridges alongside there. Moussa Diabate still there, but Colin Sexton now coming off the bench. Such a weird fit. I do expect Naples, the Dookie, to end up starting at the shooting guard spot here. So, yeah, this is just a game that I think there's a lot of volatility to. Plus, we're waiting on a lot of props on the Brooklyn side until they have their official starting lineup. Specifically, what you're looking at, because Igor Demon, he's another guy that everybody's pretty excited about from a rookie perspective, although Seraph, he's a better ball handler at the moment, and just depends on how patient Brooklyn can be. He's going to come along. He'll have his moments for sure, but overall, this is just a game that I think is very difficult. As for Brandon Miller, he's somebody that no matter what, no matter how the construction works out, it's him, LaMelo Ball, and this is just the lower of the two against a very poor Brooklyn defensive unit that, once again, you play 34 minutes of Michael Porter Jr. a night, you're going to look pretty good offensively on the other side. The Miami Heat taking on Orlando in this spot, and Drew Smith probably getting your point guard spot here. Khalil Ware, it was questionable whether or not he was going to end up playing. They did announce that he expects to play, so that's cool. As for Orlando, they could be getting a big piece back, and this is kind of the main thing that keeps me off of betting this game yet. Miami money line, I think, is like really long shot. Again, they're 8-point dogs here in this spot, but Jalen Suggs is questionable. If he ends up out, Norman Powell is now on the Miami Heat. Andrew Wiggins, it's not the Andrew Wiggins of old, but still can get you a bucket. And Bam Adebayo on the interior, this is just a low variance game. In fact, it's the lowest total on this slate at 214.5. Jalen Suggs, though, if he ends up playing, that is just such an upgrade over anything else because Tyus Jones coming off of the bench there, more than likely in those scenarios, probably starting in the event that Suggs is out because that left knee still not 100%. We go along our merry way to the Cleveland Cavs. I almost said Guardians because that's where my brain's at sometimes. Taking on the Knicks, Jalen Brunson, 2.5 threes. I just thought I'd get a little bit better price on this one. I don't know what to make of the post-Tom Thibodeau era here. I really don't. And Brown's a good coach, so don't get me wrong. But like the New York Knicks here, I didn't love the Karl Anthony Towns press conference. I'm not sure if anybody saw it, but he basically was saying, I don't know what to make of my offensive role. That's not what you want to hear before your debut against a very good Cleveland team that just ascended up the ranks last year with an Evan Mobley step up in pretty much every single offensive category, knocking down threes. He was kind of our 3-point darling at times last year, over 0.5, then over 1.5, and you would just get massive plus money going that direction. Those were good times. But yeah, the Knicks are in a good spot, but not today with no Josh Hart out there. OG Anunoby's good, but like Cat's even questionable entering this one, although I don't think his status is that much in doubt. If you ended up getting Cat out, though, Brunson over 2.5 threes, this would end up closing positive EV. Again, this is why we're doing a live show. That's why I want to do NBA Lindy's Live, is I want to talk through these situations as they come out and react to some of the news and be a little bit more informative for you. Plus, we can gamble together, which is fun. Jalen Johnson, double-double. This is like your long shot that I'm kind of looking at on the board. I don't know what to make of his minutes allotment here, and there's Kristaps Porzingis, but he's not a great rebounder. Like, that's never been the Kristaps Porzingis formula. He plays away from the perimeter, especially on the offensive side of things. Like, for being 7'4", really doesn't have a lot of interest in going in and rebounding. Now, Dyson Daniels gets paid. They acquire Nickeil Alexander-Walker. There's definitely some good things that happened here on the defensive side there. Jalen Johnson coming back from injury. It's nice to see him again. Didn't even bring up Trae Young's name. That's how wild it is. To at least touch on the Toronto side as well. Emmanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett, Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes, Jakob Poeltl. Interesting five. Like, that's a very interesting five that we're looking at, but they're 5.5-point dogs. So that gives you a little bit of, like, I don't know, there's a little bit of an imbalance there. Atlanta getting quite a bit of love in the marketplace in a way that I wasn't really expecting entering this one. Onyeka Okongwu, always been one of my darlings for sure on the Atlanta side. So I don't want to completely poo-poo the idea of them being this good, but I will say that's an interesting Toronto starting five. The problem is, can they all stay healthy? Answer, probably not. Rounding out the lean category, things that are not yet plays, Skinny Zion nuke. We have a potential of him. And I didn't even bring up the Joel Embiid piece earlier because, well, we're going to talk about it here in the like section. I've got a Boston play, but I think Zion could be live for like some ridiculous numbers this year, some absolute nukes. Yves Missy playing, the big alongside him, not a usage guy. Trey Murphy, 3-and-D guy, basically can sit in a corner and just chill. Herb Jones has a lot of ability. And as long as DeJounte Murray's out here with that torn Achilles, which sounds like he's going to be back January-ish, February-ish, you are really in an interesting spot here because it's just Jordan Poole. And again, that's the guy that you're kind of arguing with where the usage could get out of control in one direction. But I think Zion has the go-ahead to be able to say, stop chucking. Just stop it. Get help. But John Morant is off the injury report. KCP in Memphis now. There's just some interesting pieces on the Memphis side. That's why they're 4.5-point favorites here. But I thought it might be even a little bit wider considering the John Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr. tandem. That is a lot of respect for Zion. That's my impression of that spread because it would be double digits without him. Or maybe that's a little egregious for opening night where people aren't playing 40 minutes a night, but you know what I mean. Detroit money line here up against the Bulls. The main thing that keeps me off of this is that this spread just keeps going up. 2.5, 3, 3.5. And part of that is Kobe White, the announcement that, they said he was going to be ready for opening day. He is not ready for opening day. I already threw a pick'em card into the premium Discord that included Ayo Dosunmu, because I think he's probably the underrated guy in this game from a prop perspective. You play alongside Okoro, Bazelis, and Gideon Vucer obviously going to get theirs, but the more I go through the roster, there's nothing on this bench. Trey Jones, Kevin Huerter, Javon Carter, Dalen Terry, Jalen Smith. I mean, this is just a brutal, brutal squad. And Detroit, they were the darlings of last year, kind of your surprise squad. They got in a dogfight there with the Knicks. The Knicks took that one, but Cade Cunningham alongside a Duncan Robinson in the backcourt, that's going to be interesting to watch because you can get some floor spacing for Cade Cunningham. He is so good offensively. He is so good offensively. Chris Middleton, speaking of offense, does he have revenge in his heart against his former Bucks team? We shall find out, but I think Washington's one of the more frustrating teams to figure out minutes for because Bub Carrington, CJ McCollum, Chris Middleton, Keyshawn George, Alexander Sarr, this is just a tough spot to try to figure out exactly what we're getting for minutes. We had Justin Champagnie and Malachi Branham and a couple of other guys in the preseason. I just don't know how many minutes they're going to play off the bench, and that kind of leaves Middleton just there. We know the usage is going to exist as long as he's out there. He is a functional basketball piece, even though he did not fit at the tail end of his Milwaukee tenure purely because, well, you want Giannis with the ball in his hands. You want Lillard with the ball in his hands, although he is now in Portland. Let that be known. You will not be playing basketball this year. Lauri Markkanen rounding it all out here. The Clippers, the largest spread favorites here, 10.5 I'm looking at the live line. And boy, oh boy, over 6.5 rebounds plus assists. That's a low number for another big, kind of like Porzingis-ish, where he's not that interested in going in and rebounding, especially when you're sharing a floor with a guy like Walker Kessler. So there's that. And you have Nurk coming off the bench. So that's going to be fascinating to kind of see the push and pull of that one. Why is Kevin Love on this roster? Worst team in basketball, the Utah Jazz. Get King Lauri somewhere else. He must reign. Forever may he reign. One more time for both of these before we get to the like section. Get a month of the premium Discord, Lindy NBA. Come kick it. Ask me your questions. I'll give you my answers. Love you guys. Lindy NBA. I also love my wife. We also have NBA Lindy's Live one more time for the people in the back. 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. 3:30 p.m. Pacific. I'm going to be doing an hour show. It's like half an hour after Stochastic Live before lock starts. And then I'm going to be breaking down all of that goodness for you. So, NBA Lindy's Live, NBA betting. Come kick it a ticket. Let's see seatbelt fasten, trunk rattling. Let's get to the place. I'm a nerd. Sorry. Philly taking on Boston. Let's begin our boarding walk, shall we? You got a pretty interesting spot here. First off, Joel Embiid. He could not have looked better in the preseason at that tail end. We haven't seen him play any basketball for like freaking ever. And it was kind of a low bar that you set for him because that knee has been an issue. It's just been an issue throughout his career. And it seems as though some rest did him well. This isn't a back-to-back. This is your first game. It's in Boston. He's going to be getting jived with the crowd. That's going to be fun to watch. But I do think when you have Edgecombe out there, there's some interesting ways where offensively Philly looks much, much better than what people think he does. Like, I think Philly could legitimately be a sneaky team in the East. Now, Paul George needs to come back and be somewhat Paul George-ish, that's for sure. But Tyrese Maxey and Edgecombe in the backcourt, like this could be a very, very fun situation to watch. And obviously, I didn't even mention Joel Embiid there in that sentence because, well, he doesn't have to do everything for this team, but there are going to be times where he's probably going to be able to do whatever he wants. And I'm fascinated by that. Who is the fourth starter? Dominic Barlow's been there, but I mean, is it Justin Edwards? Quentin Grimes didn't really get paid. People really wanted Quentin Grimes to get paid, but it's just an interesting Philly team. There's a reason they're on the road in Boston, only 2-point dogs, but Boston, you're not going to be with Jason Tatum now for another 5-6 months. It sounds like he's ahead of schedule on the Achilles injury, which is fun from a basketball perspective, but we got two massive Q tags on the slate, and I have a play in both. Jason Tatum out, obviously, but Jaylen Brown questionable for opening night. Left hamstring tightness. If he doesn't play, it opens up so many minutes for the likes of Anthony Simons. It opens up so many minutes for the likes of like a Chris Boucher. But Sam Hauser, I expect to start alongside Jaylen Brown, even if he plays. And I think that's where this really gets interesting. There's been a lot of quotes over the course of the last few years about why Sam Hauser, like they know why they value Sam Hauser far more than other people. And it just comes down to what Boston tries to do. They shoot more threes than anybody in the league, over 6.5% more of their field goal attempts than the second place team, that being the Golden State Warriors there. Over 50% of their field goal attempts are three-pointers. And you best believe with Derek White with a 4.5 3-point line, Peyton Pritchard, 3.5. You've got Sam Hauser out there, 2.5 even money. I'll take that for sure. He has one job on the floor. It is knock down threes. That is his job. And probably to play some defense because, that matters too. But Sam Hauser, that is why he's out there. He had a 40-point difference in terms. He was just a massive net rating. He had a massive net rating in the preseason. This is a sneaky basketball player every single year, and this is no exception. Last year, he definitely helped out the Boston Celtics in ways that people weren't expecting. Plus, he has that crazy dog in him. I might even ladder this. I'm pretty convinced that this is a pretty good angle, and if you get Jaylen Brown out, it's going to look exceptional. As for right now, it just looks okay. But the upside here in the event that Brown, who I think is like a true 50-50, would be immense. Alrighty, my nose itches. San Antonio taking on Dallas here, and boy, oh boy, Victor Wembanyama's fun. We get kind of the duo, him and Anthony Davis, dueling it out there at the Olympic Games 2 years ago. One of the best basketball games I can ever remember watching, USA France. The only time I've probably ever cheered for Steph Curry in my life, or what I've bet on him for the positive. It's more fun to take Steph Curry unders. Under 4.5 threes. Everybody said that was the worst play ever yesterday, but it wasn't even a play. Didn't even bet it, just a lean. And y'all still lost your minds. But San Antonio, they're going to be a fascinating team to watch purely because of Victor Wembanyama. He can really make this team go, and he could make any team go, really. But Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell, Julian Champagnie, Harrison Barnes, Wemby. Not my favorite supporting cast there around him, but De'Aaron Fox is going to be out for a couple of weeks here still with that hamstring injury he's coming back from. So pay very, very close attention to San Antonio's starting lineup because you could get somebody swapping in for a Champagnie. I doubt we get like Luke Cornett or anything like that. Kelton Johnson, they do like off the bench there as that sixth man piece. But this is all about the Dallas Mavericks, friends. I don't understand this spread in any way, shape, or form. I have this closer to like the 5-point type number, 4.5, 5. And the main reason is you're getting point Cooper Flag. And we haven't seen him play a single NBA game yet. We saw him in the preseason. Looked pretty good. Did get torched defensively by Gabe Vincent, who knocked down 5 threes in 3 seconds. That was absurd. Might have been a little hyperbole on the 3 seconds thing, but it was fast. It was really fast. And 4 of those were in Cooper Flag's eye hole. I was watching that. But Klay Thompson, PJ Washington, Anthony Davis, Derek Lively. That front court, man, it's equipped. Not that anybody is perfectly equipped to handle a 7'4", 7'6", 3-point shooter in Victor Wembanyama. But if there is a team that is, Anthony Davis and Derek Lively are a pretty good defensive tandem to have on the interior. And Cooper Flag, one of the best young defensive players already. I would call him one of the more elite defenders in the NBA. And he hasn't even played a damn game yet. So get your popcorn ready, friends. The Dallas Mavericks, they're 25-1 to win the title. San Antonio is 65-1. No De'Aaron Fox, their second best player, and we get -2 on Dallas at home. I'll take it. You'll take it. You should take it. 2.5 is just fine too. I'm seeing that a lot of places at the moment, a lot of shops. Sacramento +4 taking on Phoenix, and again, 12-game slates. Whew. Especially debuts of a sport. Anytime the first MLB slate rolls around, at least you get a couple of hours to figure it out. We might not know Phoenix, like what Sacramento, both of these rosters are just insane to me. Sacramento, I expect to be Dennis Schroeder, Keon Ellis, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and Drew Eubanks as we wait for Domantas Sabonis to come back from injury. It sounds like he's a week away with his hamstring. Why so many hamstring injuries? Can we stretch? Do we stretch before games? Spoken like a true dad there. But anyway, we got ourselves Keegan Murray as well. He's going to be out for a couple of weeks. Just thumb injury, pain tolerance deal. Make sure it comes back. Hands are kind of important when playing the game of basketball. But I want to talk about the front court here. We have Drew Eubanks. Well, I should at least touch on Phoenix. Ryan Dun, alongside Mark Williams there in the front court. In the back court, Devin Booker, Grayson Allen, Dylan Brooks in some capacity. So that's fun. Royce O'Neal off the bench. What a roster. Devin Booker, his double-double odds scare me a little bit. It's like inside of +200. True story. Again, I've ran everything for today. But that being said, I don't agree with this. Dario Saric is coming off the bench here for Sacramento. He's going to be facing one of his 48 former teams. Tenure did not go well in Denver, did not go well in Golden State, the way that you would expect if you're Dario Saric at least. But he came off of a massive injury he sustained in the playoffs with the Phoenix Suns. Now he's facing them again, and he played a little bit more than Drew Eubanks in the preseason. And I don't think you want to put tons of stock into preseason, although I do like to see usage rates, assist rates, kind of have an idea of who is going to be sharing the floor with whom and have an opportunity to really be ahead of the curve. But I think Dario Saric closes for the Sacramento Kings in competitive games. And I expect this game to be pretty competitive. I would actually be on the Sacramento side, just taking the points. But Dario Saric, I think, is one of those guys who probably has sneaky upside in a game like this, can spread the floor to some extent, even though he shot sub 30% from three last year, which was kind of what kept him off the floor. You need to be able to knock down shots when you have that Jokic character. And otherwise, you're just a glorified backup five who plays 12 minutes. And he wasn't even that for them. Shout out. No, it's DeAndre Jordan. Now it's Jonas Valanciunas. What is going on there? But Dario Saric, over 14.5 PRA. I've got this north of the 16 mark. I also think there's another ladder potential here in terms of PRA where he plays 28 minutes to Drew Eubanks' 20. I doubt they share the floor together for what it's worth, but I do think Dario Saric, Super Dario here in this spot, somebody that you want to be invested in, even if it's ever so slightly here, but half unit play for me. I think it can be a half unit play for you. To our last game of the night, lots of time and effort going into this video. Obviously was traveling, things of that nature. Not sure if I want to do them all mornings or evenings, whatever it is. I'm going to get you the information. I'm here for you. So Houston taking on, oh, this is not correct. We've reached the portion, but let's just zoom in on the Drew Holiday portion of this. It didn't copy over. It's not Houston and OKC. It is Minnesota taking on Portland. Minnesota taking on Portland. You got the biggest Q tag of the entire day, and Anthony Edwards here on this side of things. Don't worry, I'm very tired. This is actually correct. What did I do here? Money line here, total correct. But they're 4-point favorites, the Minnesota Timberwolves are. Anthony Edwards is questionable with back spasms. He usually plays through all of his Q tags, but this is the first game of the season. It'd be weird to kind of put a team on blast for saying you're finagling your injury report the first game of the year. Kind of feels a little gamesmanship-ish, but Drew Holiday under 12.5 points, I really like for a couple of reasons. One, McDaniels is the guy that I actually project to play the most minutes of any basketball player on the floor. Jaden McDaniels is out there for defensive purposes, let me put it that way. As for Anthony Edwards, yeah, still play a little bit of defense himself. And Drew Holiday, he had sub 18% usage over the course of the preseason. I wasn't sure what was going to necessarily be his role right from the get-go because they are very short at the guard position. Damian Lillard, a year away from coming back, so you're not going to see him at any point. And Scoot Henderson, probably not coming back until the beginning of the next calendar year, so a couple months until we see him. Drew Holiday going to play a lot of point, and Caleb Love does not create for anybody. He creates for himself. He is there is an I in team in his team. That's for damn sure. Arizona fans know. North Carolina fans know. Whatever. But anyway, Drew Holiday under 12.5 points. I think he's out there to create the assist rate. Him and Denny Avdia, very curious to see how this kind of plays out, but I think this is a little bit heavy. He shot it north of 42% from three as well, which I don't think is going to be his norm going forward. He had a 15% usage rate at Boston. I expect that to come up ever so slightly, but I think it's an advantageous spot in the second lowest total next to that Orlando game. This one is not going to be moving, and McDaniels should be able to wreak a little bit of havoc, and everybody's live on the floor, switch on everybody, switch 4 different positions. Going to be good times, but both teams, defense first. That's for sure. Alrighty, y'all. NBA Live. That's going to be coming up here on the Odd Chopper YouTube channel today. Very excited to bring that to you. I'll have the video out here tonight as well for Thursday's games. Only 2. Nice schedule, NBA. 2 games on Tuesday, 12 on Wednesday, 2 on Thursday. What are we actually doing with our lives? I kind of appreciate just 2 games, actually. The 12 I could do without. Let's space things out a little bit. Promo code Lindy NBA. Throw that in one more time for the people. I absolutely love you, and I love my wife. And that does it for the On the Road, back in my hometown edition of NBA Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. And hey, second one to go in here, 2-0 in the props lands in the NBA. Let's keep that going. Let's go undefeated. But it's not going to happen. I did lose Pick'em too yesterday, so I made money. You probably made money. We made money. Let's do that. Let's do that again here today. Check out NBA Lindy's live here on the Odd Chopper channel. Until then, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the NBA streets on Wednesday. Bye.